Hello everyone, in today's video I decided to share with you all some cool and useful tricks and ideas that could help you improve your random dice skills even further. Some of these tricks are quite obvious and already rather well known to most players, but as there has been a lot of new dices, new traits and balances made in the game, I figured I would bring this up anyway. But before we get into the video, we just recently made it to 1000 subscribers. And as promised, the 1K special video will include a Q&A. So if you have any questions whatsoever regarding the game, the channel, or personal things about me, this will be a great opportunity to ask and to get featured in a video as well, as I won't be making a lot of Q&As in the future. Simply put Q, colon, and follow up with your question in the comments down below. All questions are much appreciated. Anyways, let's get on with the video. So today's video is divided in 5 main chapters, basically one chapter for each and every tip that I'm going to be sharing in this video. So if at any point during the video you're familiar with the information that I'm currently sharing, feel very free to skip to the next chapter and thereby hopefully learn something new. Alrighty, but so the first trick that I would like to share in this video is a trick using bubble. So I'm currently using this deck right here, simply as it's mainly one of those decks that I guess most commonly uses it. Now, if I start by placing 2 5-pip bubbles right here and also placing 2 1-pip overheats. Now, if I merge these bubbles, obviously all the other dices are going to get hit with the bubble effect. But if I throw this one away and pretend as if this is the setup. This is a quite common setup using overheat, but normally you would obviously have a lot more dices surrounding it because it's a bit harder to get this exact setup. While you have the overheat powered up, you're obviously not gonna get any hits on the dices, but there are still bosses that could potentially hit it. This is obviously mainly going to happen during the berserk modes, as your power should be enough not to get hit all the way up until then. But so let's say that your lunar dice loses the bubble on it, but all the other dices keep their bubble, which obviously is gonna be the case at most times for your overheat as long as it is on an even level. The trick that you can actually do with bubble is that if both these dices, as you can see, they both have the bubble effect on it, you can straight up merge them and the bubble from the dices should move over to the lunar dice. Now if I merge them right here, you can see that the bubble moved to the lunar. So if you have a board looking like this, these are basically going to count as permanent bubbles until you merge them, obviously. There is basically nothing that can affect them as long as you keep your overheat on an even level, and once you need a bubble for the lunar, for example, you have really easy access to it and you don't even have to spawn anything. So yeah. This could work in several occasions, but another idea is to straight up just save up bubbles, obviously. Anyways, that was the bubble trick. Now moving on to the next one. Now for the next trick being a trick using supplement dice. Now the supplement trade obviously isn't that new anymore and it's been out for several seasons. But a deck that quite recently was into meta was Clonebow. Now Clonebow has always mainly been used as a deck for co-op, but recently it moved over to PvP and was played quite a bit. Now the trick that I'm going to be sharing in this video is something that is quite useful for Clonebow, but not really that useful for most other decks. Simply as you would want to hire your pips as much as possible for most other decks, but not always necessarily when you're playing Clonebow. Now when you're playing Clonebow, you're most of the time obviously going to want to have as few pips on your board as possible, except on the lunar dice and the combo dice. You do also want to have 2 decently high pipped clones next to the lunar as well, in order to generate more dices for free that you're gonna be able to merge and thereby higher your combo count. So this trick is a way of helping you if you end up screwing up in the middle of the game. Now if you end up getting 5 pips, you can most of the time reverse them and later on put them on a supplement to then reactivate your clone for the time being. But if you merge enough clones to get 2 5-pip lunars, for example, and you merge them, you are going to end up with a 6-pip. Now what quite a few people do when this happens is that they save up for another 6-pip and merge them both, and that turns into a 7-pip. Now 7 pips in this game are permanent and there is no way to reduce them unless you're getting hit by Assassin or having the boss be a Leon and it hits you that way, or simply if your opponent is playing Phantom Thief. So basically a 7 pip dice is a permanent dot count. But there's actually quite an easy way of making this not happen, and that is if you, instead of merging a normal 6 pip with another 6 pip, put the dot count into a 6-pip supplement. Now the thing with supplement dices is that they always reduce the dot count by 2 once the timer hits 0. But obviously there aren't 8 pips in this game and 7 pips are the maximum. So if you put a 6 pip supplement on a 6 pip anything else really, the dog count is going to go back to 5 pips once the timer hits 0, just like that, and that way you can once again put it to a supplement and reactivate your clones. So if you get a 6 pip, the game surely isn't ruined. You can always reduce it if you put it on a supplement and let it go back to 5. Anyways, that's all for supplement. Now moving on to tip number 3. And so the next thing that I'm bringing up is a tip that is for AI 30 mode. Now this is quite literally a strategy rather than a tip, but it is still something that is very useful. Now what I'm going to be showing is pretty much the laziest way of setting this up as you could possibly do it. Now this is for AI 30 mode challenge. So you're going to be getting quite a few more cards than you normally would if you played the normal AI mode. But so the setup that you're going to want to get ideally is having 1 7 pip lunar and 4 7 pips worth of guardian surrounding it. Now this has to be played on void and you do need lunar class 12 for this to work. But I'm going to be speeding this part up until I get the setup that I want. So there we go. We pretty much have the entire thing set up now. Important is obviously to have the lunar active, and also do not forget to max upgrade both lunar and guardian or you might not clear the stage. So once you got this set up, you're basically just free to AFK, and at the end of the round you are going to be rewarded with 18 co-op chests that you can open immediately. Very important is to have these settings turned on when you're doing it. Otherwise, if you choose other debuffs, chances are you are not going to actually make it. These are pretty much the maximum debuffs that you can have if you're going to go with this lazy setup. But so now we're going to wait until this run ends and I'll get back to you then. And there we go. So as you can see, you get 18 chests simply by doing this. Now this was minimal effort, but it's only really possible as the slime debuff as of currently is glitched and it's not actually going to summon the slime in a berserk state. Anyways, that is all I got for AI challenge mode. Now moving on to the 4th tip. So this trick is a trick using Lightning Cloud. Now it isn't exactly a trick, but rather an explanation as to why you're gonna wanna use Lava Board with Lightning Cloud. Now this only works when you're using Lightning Cloud with the trait and the Lava Board along with it. Now most commonly Lightning Cloud is played without using the Lava Board, but if you're using the trait, the Lava Board might be a very good idea. Now I'm going to be showing why. If I max upgrade Lightning Cloud right now, as you guys could see, all the monsters just disappeared up here. Now if we do this again, but we let these monsters go all the way up here, and I place a lightning cloud here, all the monsters just disappear and get attacked all at once. The reason for this being that the lightning cloud attacks all the monsters within the area that are currently taking damage. Now the best way that I could show this was basically by doing a comparison. So if I place this right here, you can see all the monsters are getting attacked at once, whilst on this clip you can see it only attacks one monster at a time. So you might want to consider using Lava Board rather than Blessings Board if you're going to be playing with Lightning Cloud. But it of course depends on what other dices you use along with it. So the last trick that I'm going to be sharing in this video is a trick that I think most people watching this video actually already knows, simply as it is a really old trick already. So what this trick is actually called is boss meta forcing. So what this trick actually does is that it allows you to force a metastasis into a boss metastasis. Now I'm gonna show you how. So what you're gonna need for this is 2 Time Winder recalls along with 3 jokers and 1 metastasis at an equal dot count. Now what you are going to want to do is that you're gonna want to merge 2 of your Time Winders and thereby just joker all the metastasis, and in order to save them you are simply going to merge the other pair of Time Winders. So as you can see, I still have the boss metastasis, but if I wouldn't have merged the 1 pips, they would have all gone back to what they were before. This time I'm gonna do it with slightly higher pip Time Winders, so you get a better idea of what I'm actually doing. So if we take things a bit slower, once I merge the Time Winder 5 pips and Joker all the metastasis, chances are that one of them ends up turning into a boss meta, just like here. But as you guys could see, everything goes back to normal as I simply didn't merge any other Time Winder. But if we do this experiment one more time and also have 2 Time Winder recalls ready, you could see that when I merge these and Joker all the boss metastasis, I get another one. And once I merge the other pair of Time Winders, before the time runs out, my 5 pip boss meta will remain. So when you do this, you get a chance to merge it, but also save it, just like I did right here. So this trick is called boss meta forcing, and it's a quite commonly used strategy, but quite a few players still do not know of it, so I figured I would bring it up as a last thing. Anyways, those were the 5 tips and tricks that I wanted to share in this video. Do make sure to also leave a question in the comments down below if you're interested in joining the Q&A and have a chance of getting your own question featured in the video. Take care, stay safe, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Later!